Right now, millions of Americans are quietly falling into a financial trap. Not because they're reckless, not because they're buying luxury vacations or expensive cars, but because groceries cost more, rent costs more, insurance costs more, and for many families, the paycheck simply isn't enough anymore. So people are turning to the one thing still available: credit cards. And the numbers are becoming alarming. America's credit card debt has now climbed above $1.2 trillion, one of the highest levels ever recorded. Average interest rates are sitting above 21%, making it harder and harder for people to escape the cycle. What's even more worrying, this isn't just affecting low-income households anymore. Even Americans earning solid salaries are starting to fall behind on payments. And today, we're going to talk about why this crisis is getting worse, what it reveals about the real state of the economy, and most importantly, how people can avoid becoming trapped by it.
For years, Americans were warned about mortgages and student loans. But now, credit card debt is becoming the bigger danger. According to recent financial data, total U.S. credit card debt has surged past $1.2 trillion, with some estimates pushing it closer to $1.3 trillion in 2026. The average American carrying credit card debt now owes roughly $6,500 to $6,700. But here's the part many people don't fully understand. The interest rates are crushing people. A 21% APR may not sound terrifying at first, but if someone owes $6,500 and only makes minimum payments, they could spend years paying it off while thousands of dollars disappear into interest. And that's exactly what's happening across America right now. People are not just borrowing more, they're getting stuck longer.
This is where the situation becomes serious. Years ago, people often used credit cards for travel, electronics, or entertainment. Today, many Americans are using them for survival. Food, gas, utilities, medical bills. Reports now show that many working-class households are putting everyday essentials on credit cards because inflation continues to outpace wages. And when you combine rising living costs with high interest rates, you create a dangerous cycle. People charge necessities to the card. Then interest builds. Then minimum payments rise. Then they need the card again next month. And suddenly, debt becomes permanent. One Reddit user summed it up perfectly. The math doesn't work anymore. That sentence captures what millions of Americans are feeling right now. What makes this situation unusual is that it's happening during a period when the economy is supposedly doing okay. Unemployment numbers remain relatively low. But beneath the surface, many households are struggling badly. Delinquencies on credit cards and auto loans are rising to levels not seen in years. And financial stress is spreading into groups that usually seem stable. Even higher-income Americans are reportedly falling behind on payments. Credit counseling agencies say many struggling households now earn around $70,000 per year while carrying massive unsecured debt loads. That's important, because this is no longer just a poverty story. This is becoming a middle-class story. And that's why the conversation around debt suddenly feels so emotional online. People who once felt financially secure are realizing they're only a few bad months away from serious trouble. What many people don't talk about is how emotionally exhausting debt becomes. When someone carries large credit card balances, it changes the way they live. They stop checking their accounts because it causes anxiety. They avoid conversations about money. They feel embarrassed. Some even feel trapped or hopeless. And it can quietly damage relationships too. A recent survey found that many Americans now see debt as a major relationship red flag. Why? Because debt creates stress, and stress spreads into every area of life. Sleep, marriage, mental health, confidence. This is why credit card debt isn't just a math problem.
becomes an emotional burden. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Credit card companies benefit when people stay in debt for years. And psychologically, small monthly payments make large balances feel manageable, even when they aren't. At the same time, modern life has become incredibly expensive. Housing costs exploded. Car insurance jumped. Healthcare costs continue climbing. Food prices remain elevated. Many households simply never recovered from the inflation shock of the last few years. So even financially responsible people started leaning on credit cards just to maintain their normal lifestyle. And once someone begins relying on debt for basic expenses, escaping becomes extremely difficult. Here's what makes this story bigger than just personal finance. Consumer debt often acts like a warning signal for the economy. When households become overstretched, spending eventually slows down further. Defaults rise, stress increases, and financial confidence weakens. Some analysts now warn that growing debt pressure could become one of the biggest economic risks over the next few years, especially if inflation stays elevated or the economy slows down further, because many households already feel stretched to the limit. Now, fortunately, there are still ways people can protect themselves before debt becomes overwhelming. The first step is brutal honesty. Most people underestimate how much interest is costing them every month. So start by calculating the true cost of the balance, not the minimum payment, the full cost. Second, stop using credit cards for non-essential spending if possible. That doesn't mean people should feel ashamed. It simply means the cycle has to stop growing before it can shrink. Third, focus on high-interest balances first. A 22% interest rate is financially dangerous long-term. Paying down even one card aggressively can create momentum psychologically and financially. And finally, many Americans need to accept a difficult reality. The economy has changed. The financial strategies that worked 10 or 15 years ago may no longer work today. People may need lower fixed expenses, additional income streams, stricter budgeting, emergency savings, smarter financial planning. Because relying on debt to survive is simply not sustainable forever. America's credit card debt crisis is not just about overspending. It's about inflation, stagnant wages, rising costs, financial stress, and millions of people trying to hold their lives together in an economy that feels harder than ever. That's why this issue keeps getting worse, and unless households regain financial breathing room, the pressure will likely continue building. But here's the good news. Awareness matters. The earlier someone recognizes the trap, the easier it becomes to escape it. And in times like these, small financial decisions made consistently can completely change someone's future. So the real question is America heading toward a debt breaking point, or can households still turn this around? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more personal finance breakdowns about retirement, debt, inflation, and the real financial challenges Americans are facing today.